Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Miriam Dow, wife, mom of four, real estate investor, and entrepreneur. In today's video, I'm just gonna tell you about some second guessing that's been going on here. But let's get right into it. All right guys, so I know I've been MIA the past 2 weeks. I actually returned to work. Yay! So I returned to work. I'm no longer on furlough. And the good thing about it is I get to work remote. So I'm working from home. I don't need to leave my house. I'm working in my PJs. I'm in marketing and I work for a really, really big hotel that all you guys know. I'm not really gonna tell you where I work, but that's enough information about that. So it's been tough trying to get these videos out and everything that's going on. But basically, I've been second guessing, basically thinking about if I should actually turn the long-term rental into a short-term rental. Someone asked a question on one of my videos that asking if it's been rented. No, it has not been rented. I swear to you, I probably went through 30 tenants. I probably rejected 30 prospective tenants, right? And it's a lot of work because like I told you in one of my previous videos, I'm not just, making sure you make the income and stuff like that. I'm actually calling the references that you provide me with. I'm calling your previous landlord and I'm calling the landlord before that just to get as much information as I can and make sure what they're saying, is adding up to what's on your actual application. So that's where I keep bumping into people lying, giving me stories. I get to a point where I'm about to maybe approve someone and then we get to, I speak to one of the references and stuff is just not adding up. Some things are just too good to be true. I mean, we could talk about that. If you guys want me to go through the tenant screening process, like I could definitely go through, I could answer questions and just tell you how my experience has been. And as you guys know, I have no mortgage on this property, so I'm not in a rush to put someone in my property that's gonna give me a headache. I want nothing, I don't want no headache. We bought this property to give us some more income, financial freedom. I put so much, blood, sweat, and tears and money into this. So I wanna make sure whoever I do put in the property is gonna take care of it, a decent person, and that's what I was looking for. But recently, you know me, I'm always doing my research. I just came back from Dubai not too long ago. And I was just, I was relaxed. So I was thinking, and I've always wanted to get into Air Bnb, right? That was actually something on my bucket list for 2021. Secure at least one Airbnb because I want to see what all this hype is about. So I was looking in markets like Philadelphia, which is, not too far from me, someplace where I could be a little bit more hands-on. And I know the Atlanta market is crazy. So I was looking into that too. Actually spoke to a few apartment complexes there that actually allow corporate leasing. Basically, they allow subletting. But then I was like, you know what? As I'm talking to these other places, I'm like, I'm about to secure another unit somewhere. And what I was going to do is rent it, right? I was going to rent a property in either Atlanta or Philadelphia and try the Airbnb thing out. But the thing is, you're giving them 1 month security, first month's rent, last month's rent. Let's say I really don't think you're gonna get anything decent under $2,500. That's $7,500 just down payment, security. And then you have to furnish the property depending on how many bedrooms. The more bedrooms, the more money because the more furniture. I started doing my research, right? So first, putting someone into your property for long term, there's a lot of risk and there's a reward, but the reward is low, right? Compared to the risk you're putting in there. You're putting someone in your house 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years at a time, however long the lease is, however long you renew the lease. And the return on investment is basically low compared to doing a short-term rental. Now with a short-term rental, there's still going to be wear and tear, right? But you're a little bit more hands-on with your property because you're gonna have a cleaner going anytime you get a checkout. So your property is basically going to be in brand new condition. Even though there's going to be wear and tear, it's going to be in brand new condition the entire year, throughout the entire longevity that you do this short-term rental. Whereas a long-term rental, this person is in your house for 12 months. There's some wear and tear there. You gotta maybe paint some walls over, maybe refinish the hardware floors, maybe switch out some appliances. So that was a pro for me because I get to furnish it, put furniture that I like in there, and it's not going to be too much furniture, just making it nice and pretty. And being that I work for a hotel company, I know what kind of finishes people like, what kind of furniture people like. I see what's out there. So I have an eye for that. When I travel, I do like to stay in really nice hotels, 5-star hotels. I just was in Dubai and I stayed at 5 Palm. And so I get to see what these finishes are and what kind of furniture is out there right now, right? So I know I could design this house. And then the comparison, for example, if you have a long-term rental, you're making $1,000 a month, just from me doing my research. If you have a short-term rental, you know, you can rent it out for maybe $200 a night, $300 a night. The potential is 2.5 to 3 times what you make it for the long term. So just for instance, if you're making $1,000 on your long-term rental a month, the potential if you turn it into a short-term rental is $2,500 to $3,000 a month, and that's a big difference. Whereas, you know, if you have a mortgage, you're still going to be paying that mortgage, right? In my case, I don't have a mortgage. My expenses would be the cleaning person. But guess what? You're charging the short-term guest for the cleaning. So, you know, you charge them for the stay, and then you're adding the cleaning fee as well. So you can either keep that and clean it yourself. I won't be doing that. Or you can take that money and give it to actually hire a cleaning company, and you know, so you're not paying that out of your profits. So my expenses would be high-speed Wi-Fi. I really don't think I'll put cable in there if I do decide to do this, because nowadays everyone has streaming services. People are not coming to your house to sit and watch TV. They're coming to your house because most likely they're on vacation. So I feel like if you have a smart TV, that should be more than enough. With a high-speed internet, that would be your fee: electricity, heat, gas, and that's about it. I mean, property taxes, you know, those are the kind of fees that I would inherit, which is relatively low compared to the return on investment that you could potentially make. And I feel like for what I'm trying to do, for my goal, you know, everyone has different goals. For my goals, I'm trying to scale up as fast as I can. So you guys know I was doing the BRRRR on this house, right? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, so that I can scale up as fast as I can. Now, when you're buying a house, I feel like it takes a long time. You gotta look for the house. You gotta put an offer on the house. Your offer might be accepted, it might not be accepted. Then you have to get the loans, you know, the lenders involved. They have to do all these checks and checks and checks and checks. You have to get an appraisal done. So you can scale up so much faster. I mean, I've seen so many people who are scaling up using Airbnb and they don't even own the property. They're just doing something called rental arbitrage, where they rent it from a landlord. They get permission. Well, everyone's not getting permission, but the right thing to do is to get permission from the landlord to sublet it out, right? And they furnish it, and then they make a profit on top of the rent that they owe, and then that's their profit. So people are scaling up. You know, you can scale up so much faster because you don't have to go through the buying and the lenders and the closing costs and all this stuff, and it's so much cheaper. And then once you get to a point where you're making X amount of money and you can afford a house, then you can start buying your houses, right? So I feel like if the short-term rental way, you could scale up so much faster, maybe hit your goals sooner. So this is something that I was really considering. The only turn off that I had, I didn't think Trenton was really a destination kind of area, right? But you know what? I started to do my research. I bought a membership with a website called Air Bnb. So basically, if you're ever interested in doing Airbnb and you want to research your city, first thing I did was went to airbnb.com, typed in Trenton, and I saw that there's actually properties in Trenton, and I pulled up the calendars, and their calendars are X'd out for, you know, upcoming months. That means they're getting booked, right? But I wanted to do a little bit more digging. I bought a subscription on airdna.com. So AirDNA, you get to research a city, a neighborhood, to see what other Airbnb hosts are actually doing, how they're doing, right? And this is good if you're serious about doing Airbnb, because you get to research the area that you're interested in. So AirDNA, I came in, I typed in Trenton, I bought the subscription, the yearly subscription. And then the first thing you want to look at is overview. So it's going to rate the city. Now, it's funny because when I was checking this a week ago, it didn't have a rating. It said not enough properties or not enough hosts, something like that, for rating. And today there's a rating. It says C+, right? It says it's the 49th city out of 100 cities to do Airbnb. That's not bad if you think about it. 49, it's in the first 50, right? So then when you come to average daily rate, you have as low as, for the average, $157 a night to $205 a night. That's the average. But I've seen properties on Airbnb, like a studio, for like $99 in Trenton, and I've seen properties as much as $330 in the Trenton area, right? And then you come to occupancy rate. Now, when I was checking last week, I think the occupancy rate was like 64%. Today, I guess is like, it goes by week maybe, but today, the occupancy rate is at 57%, which is really good. I feel like anything above 50% is good because you're never gonna have 100% rate. So as I'm doing my research, I learned that you don't really wanna focus on having 100% rate. You wanna focus on maximizing, right? So what that means is charging the most that you can per night in that 57% rate. So out of 30 nights a month, if you could have 20 nights booked out of 30 nights, maximize on those 20 nights. So all the calculations I'm doing, I'm calculating it by 20 nights. And then that's how I'm doing the profits. And you see it's a good profit. So then if you get booked more than 20 nights, then it's just more profit on top of what you have calculated. And my house is pretty big. It's 1,400 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathroom. The basement's not finished. But if I was to finish the basement, that's even more space, right? And people put air mattresses in the closet, so you have more than enough space to pull out the bed in the living room, or maybe put a pull-out sofa in the living room, so you could potentially house 8 to 10 guests in the room. So what you want to look at after you look at the ratings and stuff like that, you want to go to top properties. Once you go to top properties, it shows you the top properties in the Trenton area. So the first thing I see is a house. It has 8 beds, right? And 4.5 bathrooms. It could have 8 guests. And then their revenue for the year is $98,000, $3,000. So this is a pretty big house. I wish I could screen record. It's not working right now. But I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the house. So that's it. Pretty huge house, right? So I like to compare to stuff that I have. There's another property here, 4 beds, 3 baths, and it could get up to 14 guests, and they're averaging out for around $210 a night. They have 14 reviews, and their potential revenue is $63,000 for the year, right? So this is information that Airbnb doesn't give you. AirDNA, because I pay for the subscription, it tells me how much that these houses are making or potentially making for that year. Whereas I was trying to make $1,800 a month. I think that comes out to $21,000 a year. I mean, I could make basically triple that according to these numbers, right? So you know me, I'm all about the numbers. There's another property here. She has a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. She could get up to 10 guests, and her potential revenue is $40,000 for this year. That's double, right there. That's double than what I was potentially looking to make for the long term. I wish I could show you these pictures, but I'm looking at the competition, and you know they're pretty houses. This property here, you know, they want $195 a night in Trenton. So, I mean, they're pretty houses, right? I know I could do better just because I've been in the hotel industry the past 5 years. Before that, I worked at Mercedes-Benz for 5 years. So I just know luxury. I know what people like. I just know what hits. I just know it. Some things just can't be taught, and I just feel like it is what it is, right? Basically, I did my research, so your girl changed her mind. I really started thinking about this, I think, last Friday. Today is the 11th, Wednesday the 11th. I started thinking about this last Friday, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna use the weekend to really like just dig in and do as much research as I can. So I did my research, and then I was looking at like places that is close to my property. Six Flags is 30 minutes out from my property. Sesame Place is 14 minutes out from my property, and it's close to Philly. It's like a little bit over an hour from New York, so it's not a bad location to be in. My particular block is quiet, and the whole time in my head, I'm sitting here trying to get an Airbnb in Philly or Atlanta, and I'm like, I have this vacant property. Why not try it? The worst thing that could happen, I could just rent it out furnished, or maybe put the furniture in storage while I go get an Airbnb in a city that's a little bit more poppin', and I could just make it a long-term rental. This don't work, right? High risk, high reward. You guys know I'm where the numbers is at. The numbers is making sense. AirDNA is telling me it's making sense. Other hosts, other super hosts in Trenton making money, that's making it make sense. So Saturday, Sunday, when I tell you I was researching the whole weekend, looking at YouTube videos, researching the area, seeing all these places that I'm close to that I can actually, you know, put in my bio, whatever, my host page. And I came to the conclusion I'm turning it into Airbnb. So stay tuned for those videos. I called my realtor Monday morning. When I called her and I was telling her this, she was like, oh, someone just submitted an application. I'll send it to you. By then I was already turned off. My mind was already set. I actually had to, you know, tell Layla I was gonna go the Airbnb route. So Saturday and Sunday I did that, let Layla know Monday. And then as you guys know, I'm working remote. So now my days is not to myself like they were before, right? Because it probably would have been furnished. But last week, Monday, so I'm not even talking about this week. I'm talking about the week before last week. So last week, Monday, once I let Layla know, I spent the whole week getting furniture. I did Raymour and Flanagan, Bob's, ordered all my furniture. Beds and sofas is already delivered. I missed my bed delivery, so they're delivering this weekend. I've been in Marshall's, Home Goods, you know, shopping for the Airbnb. So I changed my mind, guys. Turn it into Airbnb. It's been vacant. It's funny because if I would have had this idea, I should have just did it since May. We are in August and I still don't have a tenant in here, but it goes to show patience is virtue. I was never in a rush to just put anybody in my house just to say, oh yeah, I got a tenant. The house has been popping since it's been on the market. There has been people, you know, applying for the house that were willing to wait for me to get the CO. You guys know it took me a few months to get the CO, but I just was taking my time. If it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. So I legit went through like 30 prospects and rejected everybody. But I'm excited, yo. I'm really excited, and I know, like, I got a good feeling about this. So I'm gonna share the whole experience with you guys, shopping for the Airbnb, furnishing the Airbnb, you know, listing the Airbnb. I'm excited. The goal was to have it listed within a week, but just realistically, it wasn't possible because I'm working all day long at home here. But I got flexible hours, so I was able to figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna get it furnished. It's basically halfway there. The sofa's there, one bed for one of the bedrooms are there, the other two beds gotta get delivered. I'm going up there tomorrow with my handyman. We're doing stuff, we're building stuff and dining tables and stuff, and we posting stuff. So it's about to be a movie. I'm excited. If any of you guys turned your long-term rental into a short-term rental, put it in the comment section down below. Tell me how it went for you guys, how it's going. Tell me where you started and how it's going. I want to know. I want all the tea. But yeah, I changed my mind. And there's nothing wrong with me changing my mind. This is the thing. There's nothing wrong with me changing my mind. I took my time. The only thing is that why didn't I think of this sooner? I was sitting here calling up Philly, Atlanta, all these I done spoke to like maybe 30 apartment complexes in Atlanta. I spoke to a friend who's a real estate investor in Philly, and I was about to, we was about to start looking at properties in Philly, but I'm like, this don't make no sense. Girl, you got a property that's vacant. At least try it out there first, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But try it out at your property first before you go pay the next man first month rent, security deposit, last month rent. Girl, use those funds to furnish the house and put it in the house and do what you got to do. So that's what I'm doing. I have goals. We got to get to the shmoney. But yeah, I'm going to try my best to be a little bit more consistent. I know it's probably going to be a little harder now that I'm working and then I'm furnishing this Airbnb, but I've already been filming content while I was shopping, so content is coming. Tell me what you think. I changed my mind, and it is what it is. But thank you so much for watching. That subscriber count is going up. Thank you. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, share, follow me on Instagram. But yeah, we into the short-term rental business now, baby. So give me any tips that you guys can share with me. We need to grow together. This is Black excellence. See you in my next video. Bye.